Hello, hello. I'm a little raspy today, so forgive me. I'm going to do my best to sound as not as excruciatingly painful as it sounds right now. But hello, hello, Amber. We are live together for the first time in a couple months. How are you?
Good. I miss my friend, and you have a sexy voice right now. That's what you
Oh, I
got
don't know.
going
I think it's a little too squeaky to be sexy, but thank you. Listen, people say that they come to Las Vegas because they want to get away from allergies.
on.
This is due to allergies. So I hate to break it to you, but whatever allergies I have, you're going to still experience that here in Las Vegas. But at the end of the day, I don't get this happening very often. And it happened after we scheduled our lives. So it is what it is. Amber, though, tell me what's going on. How's the market been for you? It's been so long since we've talked, and I miss you too. And we're getting back on track with doing this more often.
I know. I miss seeing my cute little blonde-headed girl over here.
I know. Now I'm your squeaky blonde-headed
But
girl.
she
It's
look
fun. I'm
adorable
enjoying
as
myself.
usual.
Oh, all right, I'm gonna drink tea. Tell me what's going on in the market in your world.
You're gonna drink tea? Okay, so what I've seen in my world, where do we start? We've missed
Right?
2 months, so like, where do we even start right now?
Well, here's
Let's
what
talk
people are
rates.
asking me. When people call me to talk to me about like buying a house or moving to Vegas, the first thing
Um,
they say is, I hear the market's crashing. I hear things aren't good in real estate. Is now even a good time to buy? And so that's where I go into like education mode, which we usually do on our live streams. And so I think that's what we should do today is just help people understand how to read this market, how to understand what the hell is really going on. In your
mm.
opinion, what the hell is really going on?
Okay, in my opinion, I feel like we have a little bit of a nice place. So let me explain why. Let me explain why. So what because a lot of it's on the news is the high inventory. And so the, we're comparing it to times where we didn't hardly have any inventory. But high inventory is good because everybody's wanted a deal for the last, how long have we been doing this? Like 8 years? Every time we do this, it's like, I want that deal, I want the deal, I want the deal. Well, now's the time for the deal. Now
Right.
you can get the deal when there's inventory out there. And then for the last couple of years, it's been this battle with rates, right? Like the rates are higher, they're going higher. Every time we say they drop, and the next day they go higher. But right now, what's happening is we know the Fed dropped the interest rates last time they met, a quarter
Right.
percent, which didn't help the us on mortgage side at all because they pulled back their security holdings. So now the other day, Jerome Powell came on and said that they're looking at reversing security holdings, which means that that's our rates.
Right.
So if we have inventory here and we have rates that are declining, that is where we talk about that little perfect storm, that's about to happen.
Every year, I'm going to do my best to push through the squeaks. So every year, I was telling people recently on the phone, a couple of people on the phone that like October through February is the time that you and I are always like, oh my God, it's the juicy, crunchy time to get a
Mhm.
deal. And it's been true every year. This
Mhm.
year, it's a different version of that. This year, you know, even with rates coming down, it's just a mixed bag of amazing goodness. And I think what's hard is people are hearing what's happening in the news and they're listening to negativity and they assume
Mhm.
as a buyer that applies to them. It doesn't apply to you except for the reverse of what you're thinking. It's actually the more time you can sleep on it, the more options you have, and the
Mhm.
more negotiability is all good for you as a buyer. And it's always confusing
Mhm.
to me when people call me as buyers and assume maybe they should wait. And I'm like, why would you wait other than what? Expecting a crash, which isn't what this is looking like. This is just a rebalancing finally on a market that's not had enough inventory to even shake a stick at. So it's so
Mhm.
nice to really say to buyers, yeah, not only can we negotiate a really great deal, we're also going to be able to let you sleep on it and shop a little bit and take your time choosing the home that's right for you or the investment property that's right for you. So it's such
Mhm.
a weird thing. It's misunderstood. And even as sellers,
Mhm.
it's not a bad market to be a seller. You just have to know what you're walking into and be realistic. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Well, and I think it's a thing about expectations. So in our lives, if we've seen really low rates and then somebody's looking to buy a house and they're like, well, I'm going to wait till rates go lower.
Right.
So define lower.
Right.
Because 2 years ago, I saw rates 1.5 to 2% higher than where they are right now. So we have been taking this climb like low down, but define what you mean as low.
Right.
Because if you're talking about 2%, the only time in our lifetime we've ever seen that was during COVID, where we
Right.
had to go through a major event to do it. So not realistic for the any other time. So when you define low rates, what does that mean? You
Right.
know, when you define crash, we've seen that in our lifetimes too, but we had all different lending types back then as well.
Right.
So like, so we're always going to see the market go like in, you know, up and down, but
Right.
it's going this direction at the same time. So it's a
Yeah.
long-term game.
Yeah, I think that's something that I was chatting with somebody the other day. A client called, again, looking to move here, first time home buyer. Again, all the things I just mentioned as far as like misconceptions. And this is not our job is not we're not doing this to like get you to hurry up and buy. Like Amber and I will tell you if it's not a good time to buy. We've done it before, we'll do it again. But it was just so crazy because I was talking to this person and they everything they said that I already talked through, I was able to overcome it. And then it was, well, I just don't know if I'm going to be there more than 5 years. And I said, well, 5 years is about the timeline where I personally think is an okay thing to watch your investment go up and down. You'll know where you stand and you can look solidly at the last. In fact, I'm going to show this. Let me see if I can put this on the stage. You can look solidly at how, yes, real estate goes up and down, ebbs and flows year to year, but every chunk, about every 3 to 5 years, is when you get a solid understanding of like what can be anticipated. But never after our crash that we just talked about have we gone down below where we were before. It's a steady, steady climb. So to your point, looking at it as a long-term investment is so important. And long-term could be 3 to 5 years. I mean, that's more than what people are doing in their minds when they're looking at stuff and thinking, well, next year I might lose money. Well, you're going to be living in the house next year, so that doesn't matter. That's not no losing money if you're doing it right. So one thing I wanted to say is if you're new here, sorry for my voice in advance. If you're a return visitor, return client, we love you. Please do us a favor. Let us know where you're watching from. Drop it like it's hot in the comment box below. My energy is a little bit down today. I'm going to be back strong next week. I promise you. I'll be throwing confetti and doing what we normally do. I just don't have much of a voice, but we are so excited to be back online and we want to answer any questions that you might have, whether it's about buying a house or anything related to Vegas. So let us know. I'm Laci. I didn't introduce myself. This is Amber. We both are focused on two sides of this beautiful coin of real estate here in Las Vegas. She focuses on the money and the math and all the things that are going to guarantee that you move towards that dream of buying a home. And I get to do I think the fun stuff. You find your stuff fun, but I like my stuff where we get to go and find the right area and the right neighborhood and really align your goals with what I know Las Vegas can offer. So you've got two amazing experts right here in front of you, ready to answer your questions. And anyway, back to the convo. Let's talk about when you said that the rates are coming down. I know that a lot of times when the discussion in the news is happening, Amber, then it's like kind of already built in and there's an anticipated drop happening before it actually happens. Are you seeing that this month?
Yeah, so the news, it does crack me up. You can tell almost what they're talking about and the fear based on the phone calls that are coming in.
Right.
Because the minute the fear changes, then then it changes, you know, the level of phone calls that are coming in. So like it is really weird to see how much of a society we are like based off of what the news says. Do you find the same thing? Like anytime there's negativity regarding housing, we can feel it, right? And then the minute it shifts to something else, they put fear somewhere else. Then all of a sudden the phone calls are like rolling in, you know. So it is weird as a community. But how I look at it is I'm like, home ownership is your future. Like there's only a couple options. You have renting and you have buying that you can do. Renting is here and now. Home ownership is your future because at some point you could have that house paid off, paid down, have a ton of equity in it that you could utilize for other things.
Right.
So I think it's like looking at bigger picture.
That's awesome. I love that we're just continuing to say there's nothing that's changed in our message in the last 8-9 years that we've been doing this together. There's nothing that's changed except honesty for the moment. And I'll tell you, this moment that we're starting to enter into, the October to February timeframe, I think will probably extend beyond February, which is exciting, but it doesn't mean you should wait to call. Amber and I are really excited about helping you get a game plan together. The most important part about this experience is talking to us sooner rather than later, because when the market shifts or if it shifts, you want to be ready to go if that's something that you're hoping to do. Even if it's next year, we want to talk to you today. So if you are thinking about calling or just wanting want to ask questions, there's no pressure. There's a QR code right here. Scan that. I have a full conversation with you about what the hell's really going on. And a lot of it will have to do with your nuanced information that you share with me. And then once we know that you're ready to rock, we can talk to Amber about a game plan, even if you don't think you're ready. It's one of the things that you do best. Do you have people interrupting us and coming into your office? I'm going to kick
I know. I didn't think to turn off my ping on my computer, but yeah, that's what you're hearing, the noise.
See, she's busy. She's hustling. She's flowing. Oh, my throat's sounding a little bit better. So while I'm running your actual rate payment disclaimer on the bottom of the screen, Amber, are you comfortable saying, I know you can't guarantee rates. I know that they change by the minute. We've shown that graph before, but where are we sitting now versus just a few months ago, or in the range? Are you able to say that?
I didn't look up the average rates before I got on here, so I could usually show the average rates, but I didn't look them up.
Okay.
So
you had said
I can,
a year ago we were a couple points higher, correct? Ish.
yeah, so we're definitely heading downward, right? And it changes by the day as well. So
yeah.
This week I've seen it get a little better and a little better and a little better every single day. So I mean, that's where I feel a lot more happy when I can see rates are getting better, because like you want to be able to see people get the best payment they can, especially while they're in contract. So if you can wait to lock it in and then lock it in when you feel like you're at your lowest, it's a beautiful thing.
I love it. Let's run through some numbers real quick about the market, just kind of where we stand. This is information that you can probably find from other realtors. What I don't think you're going to be getting from other realtors is sort of the honest, I mean, not that they're not honest, but the raw, brutally honest approach. There's no fluff. There's no hard sell here. So it's what I like about what we do is that we have actual conversations. Yes, other realtors are honest, but I just don't see a lot of them being brave enough to say, no, it's not a good time to buy if it's really not, or vice versa. In another realms, not a good time to sell, things like that. But I did want to throw some stuff up here. And then I think we have a program we're going to talk about. Am I right, Amber? A 0 down payment.
Yes.
So we're going to run through some numbers real quick right now. So as of September, if you've been watching us for a while, just know that like the market snapshot is always a month behind. Our crystal ball is kind of foggy, but we can clean it off every now and then. But reality is always a trailing experience. So right now, this is September 2025. Our median home price is $470, which is amazing. It was about $480, $485 a few months ago. This does not mean the market is crashing because we're seeing it go down. We are leveling off. We have been on a rocket ship for months and years now. At the end of the day, even with rates being funky, we've still been going up in value. So to see it kind of settle and find some foundational grounding, it feels really good to me. Our new listings are going up at 524. So the difference between those two numbers tells me that a lot of sellers are not being realistic about what they can get for their home. And that's okay. It happens, but that's why a lot of people are seeing price drops all over the place on Zillow, on realtor.com. A lot of people will call me and say, oh yeah, it looks like I'm watching. It looks like the market's crashing and there's nothing but price drops everywhere. The price drops are largely due to the fact that either the realtor's not educated enough to tell them how to list it, or more likely the client's just not ready to admit that the house might be, not be able to yield what they thought they could get a few years ago. So it's leveling off. Our availability is in a really, really good place. Anywhere from 4 to 6 months of availability of homes that are available to be purchased is a healthy market. It's a place where you can get good deals. It's a place where we can negotiate what you're hoping for. It's a really good, healthy space to be. If we get to a place where we're like 8, 9, 10 months worth of inventory, we'll have another conversation. But right now, I really feel healthy on that balanced experience as far as like the pricing and the inventory starting to connect with one another. When it comes to condos and townhomes, it's not really much of a difference when it comes to price point. 294 is where we're sitting right now. It's down slightly, but we were at 305, I think, a few months ago. So not hugely different. And as you can see, what's happening is condos and townhomes sellers are listing at 288, and yet they're getting 294. So you're seeing a reverse. They realize there's a lot of inventory. They realize they've got a lot to be up against. So they're listing it at a lower price point, and somehow are getting to negotiate for a little higher. So same sort of thing, but in reverse, which is so interesting to me. It's like people who own condos know that there's a lot of inventory out there. So they're just kind of like, we know what we got. We're just going to go this route. And what's great is it's yielding them a better result, which I think is awesome. Same thing, sort of 4 or 5 months worth of availability, which is actually quite cool because we do have quite a few condos and townhomes listed across the valley. So I feel really good about these numbers. How are you feeling when you see these kind of shifts that we've seen over the last few months?
Honestly, like these are like music to my ear numbers, because Okay, so the hardest thing when you're buying a house is coming in with the down payment. Like you're draining your bank account for the down payment. So to come in with down payment plus closing costs plus this plus that, it becomes like, oh, I don't know that I can do it, right? So like when you see markets like this, we know that we can walk in and say, can we get this much in closing costs?
Right.
And the sellers, if they don't have a lot of people offering because there's a lot of competition out there,
Right.
then we can more than likely get that closing cost and do cool programs like the one we're about to talk about.
Yeah. Well, that's a perfect way to lead in. Let me pause before we jump
Mhm.
into that and just say hi to some of the people who are in our comments. Hey guys, thank you for being here. We've got Sammy here saying hello and happy Friday. We love you, Sammy. Neil, hey ladies, looking good. Long time no talk. Thank you for being
Hey,
patient while
Neil.
we've been working through some stuff, and thanks for dealing with my voice today. We got Neil saying, looking good. Oh, that's twice. He sent it twice. That was awesome. Marianne, hey Marianne, good to see you. Oh, and Rob, they're coming in town. I'll be here in 2 weeks. That's awesome. We would love to get together. They're amazing. And they love their new Las Vegas house that they purchased with us.
Oh, nice.
Tracy's watching from Colorado. That's awesome. Vital Vegas is with us today. The famous Vital Vegas says, how useful and reliable is Zillow for estimating home value? I'm going to answer that question in just a second, Scott. So thank you for leaving that comment. I'm going to come back to that because that's a full-blown conversation. Let's showcase this program, and then we're going to jump into some of your questions. So if you have questions, drop it like it's hot in the comment box below. We're going to start with Vital Vegas in a few minutes. Amber, what is this program?
Okay, so these are the kind of markets where you could pull out all the crazies, right? You could pull out things that you need to be able to make it good. So when you have a lot, like I said before, coming in with down payment, I think is the hardest thing right now, especially for first-time home buyers because they don't have another house to sell to gain the money to be able to put it down. So it's one of the hardest things to do is come in with down payment. So we have down payment assistance programs, and then on a down payment assistance, the grant covers your down payment. So say we're doing an FHA loan, grant covers the 3.5% down payment, but then you have closing costs on top of that. So in past markets, it was hard to get a seller to cover closing costs because they didn't want it. Typically it's around 3% to be able
Right.
to cover the closing costs for a grant. So they didn't want to. So borrowers still had to come in with money, and it was a little bit of it was a little hard. So right now, this is why when I see the inventory moving higher, it's like music to my ears because we can do programs like this.
Right.
So on this one, so this grant is forgivable after 3 years.
I
So
love
you buy the house and then you pay the payment for 3 years and then it's forgiven. And then you can refinance to whatever the market rate is after the 3 years. So typically on grants, rates are a little bit higher than normal loans. So it's a matter of getting through that first 3 years as painless as possible, right? So on this program, we can have the seller pay extra closing costs to be able to come in or to be able to bring your rate down with a temporary buy down for the first 2 years, which makes it easier to get through that 3 year time frame. And then your payment, you're coming in with no money with a lesser payment as long as we can get the seller to play ball.
I love it. Forgive me. I've got somebody who's doing some lawn mowing right outside my window. So if you're hearing
Oh,
that,
I didn't even hear it. Yeah, I didn't even hear it.
I wanted to touch on this briefly. Is a lot of times people think that when they're getting a deal, that means that the price of the home is what we need to focus on. The reality of the situation is these types of programs are the real deal, right? Getting the
Mhm.
price of the home doesn't really always affect your payment as much as something like this program where your rate is going to affect the payment more, or those
Mhm.
closing costs come out of pocket. You could keep that money in the bank, buy furniture, do repairs, do whatever you want by saving that. So when we're negotiating on your behalf, it's not always about the price. And honestly, we're going to probably tell you, shut up about the price. Let us focus on getting you money elsewhere that's going to be much more impactful and much more long-term, benefit as far as that goes to your bottom line.
Mhm.
So just keep that in mind. So this kind of a program, to your point, Amber, like this is something that allows us to really present a program to the seller and say, hey, this is what we need you to do in order for us to close. We'll give you what you want for the price, but we need this, this, and this, and this. And it really can have a far greater impact. And it's only a 3 year time frame. Like most people live in their homes at least 3 years. So that's amazing.
Yeah. Well, so it's a 30-year fixed loan because that 3 years, sometimes there's confusion on that. It's a 30-year fixed loan, but after the first 3 years, what you took in the amount of the grant to be able to pay for your down payment is then forgiven.
I love
So
that.
then you're free to refinance on a lower rate, assuming rates are lower after that 3-year mark. And the qualifications on this are not bad. That
I
like
was just saying
600,
credit score is 600 only. That's
yeah, 600, which is lower than most grants even think about, right? So
apartments. If you want to rent an apartment, you have to have 625 in Las Vegas just to rent an apartment. This gives you a chance to qualify with a lower credit score and get free money. Like that's crazy.
yeah, yeah. And then we can add, so what a 1-0 and a 2-1 buy down are is like, let's just say, and I'm just throwing rates out. Okay. These are not the rates, but I'm just doing this to explain like
We have
how
a
a program
disclaimer.
works.
You got the disclaimer running. We're good to go.
Yeah. So, okay, let's just say the rate is like 7%, right? If you get a 1-0 buy down that means for the first year, the rate would be 1% lower than the
Wow.
rate that you took. If you do a 2-1 buy down, then year one, your rate would be 2% lower. So in that estimate of 7%, you'd be at 5% in an interest rate. And then year two would be 6%. And then year three would be 7%. So
Wow.
then that gets you, like, again, when you're looking at the grant, it's okay, what gets me through that 3-year period is easy as possible. So then I can take the money and then not have to pay it back.
I love
Some of
it.
the grants, I don't like the ones that I have to pay back the money because why go through the pain if you have to pay it back later? I like the
Absolutely.
ones that you have something to look forward to.
Right. Something else that we were talking about before we went live was the fact that, well, I was saying what's cool about right now is that when rates drop, typically with our last several years, I'm so sorry for my voice. I'm hearing it and it's annoying me. So I hope you guys are okay.
I don't
But
think it's
when,
sexy.
okay,
Sexy
I'll
voice.
stick with it. Yeah. So when rates drop, typically because we've not had enough inventory, it's been a race to the buy and everything gets sucked up quickly. And you then it elevates prices, and it just turns into kind of a crap fest, if you will. This moment right now with having that padding of a little bit of extra inventory, as the rates start to drop, it's definitely going to get busier and frenzied, but it's not going to be as an immediate of an experience as the past. Now, if they continue to drop, then we're going to suck up that inventory. We're going to be right back to where we started. So for people who are on the fence or even just considering putting a plan together for maybe a next year purchase, now is the time to start that conversation and keep an eye on that. And the earlier you are involved with us and in our system so that we're keeping an eye out for you, the better. So shameless plug right here, scan this so that you can set up a call. My voice will be better by then, I promise, but I would love to have a call with you so we can talk through this. And Amber is the master at setting up a game plan. Even if your credit's not great, all these other things, we can work through it. Amber's like a dog with the bone. Sorry to refer to you as a dog, but you really are. Like when you go on a mission with someone, you will get them a loan for a house. So I think it's cool to have someone like that by your side rooting for you. And these programs make it so much easier. So we're in I said it before, I'll say it again, but it is a juicy, crunchy granola, beautiful, beautiful time to be starting the consideration of getting lined up, because this is going to last for a little while. So take advantage of it.
And I feel like it's a juicier, crunchier time than it even was when we said it last October.
And the one before that, and the one before that. So it
Yeah.
is a shifting market, but it's still doing what it does. Las Vegas is still doing what she does, October to February-ish. And I honestly think it'll extend past that, but that doesn't mean you should wait. That means you should get on the phone right now, because once we're set up and dialed in, then it's just an action, fun, happy experience. Let me swing over to the comments again and go back to Vital Vegas. How reliable and useful is Zillow for estimating home value? This is something that I have to combat and correct and just talk about with a lot of people who reach out. So thank you for this question, Scott. By the way, if you guys aren't following Vital Vegas, he is the #1 news source for everything happening in Vegas, and he'll probably tell you before the rest of the world knows. So if you want the scoop, he's the one. He's huge on Twitter and has a beautiful blog out there. So Vital Vegas he's the man. I actually had him on my channel for a live stream, a very unhinged live stream a few months ago. And I'm still recovering. It was an interesting. It was a fun banter. I've known him for many years. Zillow is a great resource. So is realtor.com. I never want to poo-poo on that. It's a wonderful resource, but it is not the end all be all, and it is not 100% reliable or even 80% reliable when it comes to your home value. It's a good baseline though. So if you're looking at selling your home and you're seeing that your house is saying it's worth 500,000 or 492 or something, that's a good baseline. But I've seen where we run our comps and it's gone up 20 to 30,000 and below even further. based on it. So it's largely due to the fact that they're using an AI model and they don't have the nuanced information about the house, like what upgrades you've done, or if there's been any damages or fires or anything of that nature. They don't have the motivation behind what you're listing for, your timelines. And honestly, they're just looking at houses. They're not looking at single story only or with a pool and without a pool. So it's a good baseline, but no, if you want the real number, call me. I would love to run some comps. We have several listings right now, and we are doing very well considering a market that has been tough to sell. So thank you for asking. Good question. Let's see. Neil says, if I have a grant, can I pay extra on the principal with no penalties? Great question.
You'll always ask the best questions. Look at you.
Yes, you, Neil.
I know. So some.
Sorry, I sound I sound horrible. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, it was cute. So some grants, yes, you can pay towards principal, some no. So it just depends on the type of grant you have. So we'll have to look at all the different grants.
Absolutely. Neil, if you want to find out or if you have a grant already set up with Miss Amber, please reach out. She can let you know. Is that something that's really common, like penalties with grants, or is it more, to your point, I know it's nuanced, but is that something that's pretty common?
Well, okay, so the penalty, like, so you're taking the grant, right? And then it depends, like, if it's forgivable, then you go through the time period of getting it to that time period. Like, some are forgivable at 3 years. One we just talked about is 3 years, some are 5 years.
Got it.
So that grant wants to be able to get that interest rate that you've paid to be able to kind of, they don't say repay the grant, but that's how I look at it.
Right.
So it depends on that.
So most likely, if it's a forgivable, most likely, this is not guaranteed, but it would likely not want you to repay it sooner if you're only paying down the principal. They need that money to
the
offset.
non-forgivable ones they're not going to care.
Okay, that's a good rule of thumb. If you guys have any other questions, please drop it like it's hot in the comment box below. We're going to chat for a few more minutes, and then honestly, we're going to we'll be back. We'll be back next week. We're trying to get back on track with our schedule. It's been a very busy summer, so we appreciate your patience. Let me know while we're live too. Do you like when we go live during the day, or do you like the evening live streams? We have like a very unique audience for each. And so I'm trying to figure out how we can schedule it so that we don't miss anybody and we bring what you need to the table. Amber, I wanted to chat with you briefly about new homes. For years and years, we've been doing this 8 or 9 years now, 8 years, something. New homes have been on par sort of pricing wise with resale homes because for whatever reason, that's how it was. Now, because new homes over the last few years, due to rates being higher, they've started offering all these crazy incentives and offering all this, like this very heavy marketing arm that's trying to scoop up whatever buyers might be in the market by buying down the rates and all of that. And what maybe others don't realize is the prices now have started to go up on these new homes, even though the market's been crazy, because they're oftentimes building that into the pricing structure. Am I right in that assumption?
Yeah, because think about it. If the average rate is, in the sixes, and then you go to a new home builder, and some builders right now are offering like 3.99 or, some, or, 4.5, or they're offering way lower than market, that money's being paid for somewhere.
Right.
Because it's not like they magically have a different rate than anybody else can get if you went and bought a resale house.
Right.
So that money is being paid for within the price of the house.
Right.
On it. So then that's why they're going to be a little bit higher. I mean, in the end, you just have to look at, like the payment on it. If the rate makes your payment kind of where you want it versus the price of the house makes your payment where you want it. Yeah. Again, long-term thinking.
Absolutely. The other thing I was going to say is I know that you are the preferred lender for a builder or two or more in town. I know you have a lot of experience with that. And what I love about what you do is you're honest. There's no trickery. It's like get in, get it done, and move on with your life. Some of the lenders, and I'm not asking you to say this, I'm saying this, so this is my opinion. Some of the lenders around town that work directly for the builders that are not outside third parties like you are, it can get a little dicey with like the actual approval process. There can be some shell game action happening when it comes to like you leaning into that offer that they're giving you. And then halfway through the process, they now can't get you that offer anymore. Have you seen any of that coming through with your other clients that might have been with a lender, with the builder, and now they need to come to you for help?
So, okay. So what happens? Yeah, there are some like that. So, what's happening is so when you go to a builder, most of the time the builder either owns their own lending company. So if you look at like the national builders, they all own their own mortgage company. So you're going for somebody who technically works for a different branch of the builder,
Right.
right? And then, or they are at least affiliated with a lending company. So then you have to be able to go through their lender to be able to get that rate because they're being bought in advance. The rates are being bought in advance. So if you can't qualify for that particular loan with that lender, maybe their guidelines are weird or something like that, then that's where it becomes a little difficult. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, and I think the real point I want to make about this is that yes, the builder incentives are awesome and they can be very flashy. I've had at least 5 clients in the last 2 years who have been lured by the flashy and then all the way into it to a point that they can't really cancel. It's been a little bit of a bait and switch. I know you don't do that, and I
Oh
think
crap. Yeah,
um,
I would never bait and switch because I like, oh, my lights just turned off. It just got romantic in here.
oh, my voice, it's my voice.
I don't like the karma of
Yeah,
baiting and
yeah,
switching, like so I don't I but I can't talk for every lender out
right.
there and like what they did. So tell me
And
what happened. Give us the drama.
Well, I'm not so that has happened. I won't name any names and we've overcome it. But what I wanted to really make the point of is it's super important that even if you're considering going for those very big flashy lender offers, it's super important to still speak to someone outside of that experience who doesn't work for the builder, like someone like an Amber who can give you like an apples to apples comparison to make sure you really are getting the deal that you think you're getting. It's not always often that they will work with outside lenders because again, they all work for the builder. That's why you have to show up with me on that first visit, because if you don't, you will not have representation from a realtor in the experience. Same sort of thing with the lender. They want everybody to work for them so they control the entire situation. And it's not to be deceitful. It's their business model. But for me, I always encourage people to don't be contacting the builders directly. Come through us so that we can get you ready to go. So you walk in with a paper in hand from someone like an Amber. If they're calling BS or whatever, you still have the option to choose who you want to work with. And it makes it a healthier and a more sound, safe experience, in my opinion. So you always want to be able to apples compare. And Amber's works with a lot of builders. So I know you know that back and forth really, really well.
Yeah. It's always good to have because you're right. There's a lot of people that go and maybe their file's a little bit borderline, and so they feel like they're going through the runaround, but they don't have any representation,
Right.
showing the person what to do.
Yeah. So
So
I'm going to go back to the question. So Neil originally said, if I have a grant, can I pay extra on principal with no penalties? We answered that. But then he said, sorry if I missed it. Can you explain the non-forgivable grant? Isn't the purpose of a grant free money? It's a really good question, actually.
we like to call it free money,
Yeah.
but in the end, so a grant, there is grants out there that are like government money, like free. I wouldn't say free money because you have to fit very strict qualifications to be able to get the grant, right? So there's grants like that out there. And remember, there's a wide variety of grants. The grant we talked about today is forgivable after 3 years, but you do pay a little higher rate for those forgivable ones too, right? And then there's non-forgivable grants. So then you're going to still take a little bit higher rate, and then you can pay the grant off over time. You don't, but you're going to have to pay it off before you sell or refinance.
So
So
it's
there's
like
many
a
different
grant.
options.
It's like a grant of time or a grant of rate or a grant of down. It's
Yeah, like it helps you get the house and come in with no money on it. But when you go to refinance in the future or sell, then you're paying that grant back out of your equity. Does that
yeah.
make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. But I think it's funny because we've even talked about this, how non-forgivable grant doesn't sound like it's actually a grant, but it is. It's just the structure of the program. But the usual
Mhm.
use of the word grant is definitely something to be asking questions about for sure.
It is, and there's so many different versions of, like, there's so many down payment assistance programs. The ones that are like true, like government money coming to you, have to fit into really strict qualifications,
Yeah,
and it's hard to get. I think I closed like 2 or 3 of those this year. It was really fun to close them because you could hardly fit anybody into them,
yeah,
but they got a really good deal because it was a true grant. They do run out of money, and right now those are out of money. Those
yeah. So
ones.
usually beginning first quarter of the year, second quarter of the year, you'll start to see new grant programs come
Mhm.
out. We always do a grant rundown, if you will, of new stuff that's
Mhm.
coming out. So stay tuned for that in the coming months. But for right now, this is a great one that she just mentioned. Let me put it back up on the screen. let's see if I can get this to do it. 0 down with temporary buy down options. This is something that's absolutely possible in the market that we're sitting in. And again, just want to keep in mind, for those of you that are waiting to buy for something else to happen or for the downfall of our real estate market, that's not what's occurring. What is occurring right now is an opportunity, though, for us to negotiate a great deal. Doesn't always mean it has to be on the price of the home. Could be something like this where we get that seller, instead of dropping the price of the home, to drop that rate for you. So really, really awesome program. And the fact that you can get into this program with a 600 credit score and above is better than you would have to do to qualify to rent a home in Las Vegas right now. That's a better credit score requirement than any of that.
Yes. And so here's the thing with some of the grants, like I said, the qualifications are very strict.
Right.
I close multiple of these grants every month, multiple loans every month. So you can get, these are doable grants to be able to do. And again, we're just going to tell you, like, you make the call and we're going to run it through and just tell you how, you know, how to get there. So if your credit's a little bit off, if your debt ratio's off, here's what you need to do to be able to get there on it.
I love Neil so much. He always drops such great knowledge, great questions. And this is like the dream of all dreams. I think if we had this program in place, things would look a little different. Is there anything like this on the market that I'm not aware of, Amber?
I would love to see a program where I can take my current rate with me as long as I still refinance my current house. I have asked for this program multiple times, Neil. You got to believe me, man. I have like, okay, so there's another country. I can't remember what they call the program, but I had a client call me one time and say, I Googled, you know, like there's a name for it. You just caught me off guard. I don't remember the name for it, but other countries do have a program like this where you keep the rate. But like in the United States, our lending is actually a lot less strict than other countries are. So it's easier to get into houses compared to other countries. I was just talking to somebody from the UK and they were telling me how difficult it is to be able to buy a house there, especially as your first time buying it. So they might have rules like this available, but they don't have the ability to get in like we do. But don't think that I haven't gone asking. I've asked multiple times. But the way that our current setup is that when you lock in a rate, it's locked into a property and a deed of trust is comes with it, so it's attached to that house.
Yeah.
But I love how you're always working the system, Neil.
Dream of dreams. It kind of makes me think about, I think in Arizona, it's like when you register your car here in Vegas, it's based on every year it changes how much you pay, and it's based on how old your car is, et cetera, et cetera. And I heard I think it was Arizona, somebody said, yeah, you pay like one flat fee for like 10 or 20 years of registration. I could be wrong, but I was like, man, that kind of sounds like that, where you get this one thing that's attached to you for the rest, you know, for as long as you need it to be. That would be so nice. This is one, I love this, the Toro ×3. Be fearful when others are greedy, be greedy when others are fearful. There's a lot of fear in the air, which means there's a lot of opportunities. Thank you.
Oh my God. I could kiss you for that. Yes. That is our thing.
Yeah, this is the message that we've been giving for years, and we're grateful that you brought it to the forefront today. It is absolutely the case right now. It looks and sounds like it's a horrible market out there, but I'm letting you know, as a buyer or an investor, flip the table, flip the script. It's the opposite. And it's so getting better with every day, with rates fluctuating and coming down a little bit more. But even if they were to stay right where they are right now, it is still an amazing time to buy, or at least prep yourself to buy in the next few months. So we really do want to chat with you. I'm going to wrap it up for today, because I'm about to go backwards in my voice experience. I can feel it coming. Again, if you are interested in chatting with us, I don't care if you're moving 25 years from now. I don't care if you don't even know. Scan this QR code. Let's set up a call. I'll hopefully have a voice by then. And then if you're ready, we can get you to talk to Amber, and she'll put you on a game plan. We've seen people, Amber, go from never thinking they could buy a home in the last 8 years to watching our content, to then just calling just because, to then now owning multiple properties, and they never thought they would own a home ever. And it's because of our process of what we put them through, and your ability to put them on a game plan. And it's my favorite thing to brag about. It's my favorite thing to brag about. I love it so much.
Honestly, every time it happens, it just reminds it's a reminder of why we do what we do.
Absolutely.
You know, because we want to be able to see, like, the dream of homeownership is still alive. Let's get you in one.
Yeah. Absolutely. Neil, I'm going to answer you real quick and then we're going to jump off. When are we going to get together for a cup of coffee? I'm leaving town this weekend. I'll be back Thursday, my friend. So just message me and we'll figure it out. And for those of you who are coming into town, who are thinking about moving here, I do meet and greets. You have to do a phone call with me first, but I will meet you. We can talk. I've got some tools to help you get to know the city before you decide if this is where you want to land. So I'm sorry to cut us short and I'm sorry my energy was low today, but I'm so grateful that we got to go live. Thank you for making time for this, Amber. I really appreciate it.
Oh no, it's good to see my friend again.
So much, and I miss everybody who's watching. Stay tuned for next week, and we'll keep it going strong. I'll see you soon.